Thank you. As a servant to the many different people who make up our one Queensland community, fear-based net zero climate policies are harming everyday Australians and have no environmental or scientific justification. Yesterday, this chamber saw a display from the Greens that is best described as fear-based. I could feel their terror, terrified. It was not fear of some impending human barbecue, it's fear of impending political irrelevance. The public are starting to wake up that climate change is the greatest display of mass formation psychosis since the Salem witch hunts. Last weekend, Tory Prime Minister Sunak in Britain won a surprise victory in the Uxbridge by-election campaigning against Lord Mayor Sadiq Khan's net zero policies. A Conservative politician took a stand against net zero and won. The British media have sensed the changing mood and their reporting tone has changed. Here's a sample of their headlines from the last few weeks. Change the ludicrous net zero timetable, Daily Telegraph. The Prime Minister must be bold and delay our net zero deadline or the cost will be ruinous. The Sun, saying what I have been saying for the last 15 years, except I've been saying cancel, not just delay. Cancel. Sunak will have to water down net zero. The Spectator. The Washington Post weighed in with backlash to climate policies is growing. The UK going off reservation and winding back net zero will provide economic competition to countries like Australia, who continue to commit economic suicide with their net zero agenda. The money flowing into the pockets of the predatory billionaires who are behind this scam is already under threat. Swedish state energy company Vattenfall has announced one of the world's biggest offshore wind developments. The 1,400-megawatt Norfolk Boreas project in the UK has been suspended due to spiralling costs, increasing prices for wind turbine materials, including copper, zinc, chromium, nickel, rare earth, cement and oil for the fiberglass blades, gearbox and lubricants have caused a 40% cost overrun. This pushed their projected cost per megawatt hour from $85 to over $100 a megawatt hour. Offshore wind is not cheap electricity, and it never will be. Wind energy is expensive and, due to the laws of physics, always will be prohibitively expensive. This insane ideology is causing everyday Australians to feel deep pain, hurt. Building a home is getting dearer because all of these materials used in net zero are used in homes. Rising construction costs mean home ownership is harder and rents are increasing. Retooling our entire energy grid, both generation and transmission, is transferring hundreds of billions of dollars out of the pockets of everyday Australians into the pockets of the climate carpetbaggers running this scam, using rising electricity prices and higher taxes. We are the world's most energy-rich country, yet have some of the world's highest prices for electricity. As we export coal and uranium so foreign countries can have cheap, reliable power. Yet Greens, Liberals, Labor, Nationals' energy policies means we cannot use it here, all in the name of this new religion of green self-flagellation. In 2 weeks, I will be visiting the site of the latest green environmental vandalism in Chulumba, Queensland. Thousands of hectares of native forest to be chopped down for an industrial wind turbine complex, killing the environment to save it, apparently. Oil companies are experiencing record margins and profits thanks to the Albanese government allowing this profiteering despite having the power to bring prices down. The higher the price of petrol, the less people use their cars, allowing the Albanese-Bowen government to claim that reduction as progress towards net zero. All of this is based on faulty science and selective misuse of natural events. Fraud. We were told this was the hottest July on record, when in fact it was the hottest July since last year. We were told the ice extent is shrinking. However, the Arctic is within long-term fluctuations, and the Antarctic is not melting, except for the section with a significant volcanic eruption under the ice. You fearmongers didn't bother to mention that, did you? In my adjournment speech tonight, I'll speak on the warmer's scientific fraud. Even the fearmonger-in-chief, Jim Skier, the new head of the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has had to ask for an end to the hyperbole. Speaking on the weekend, Skier said, quote, "We should not despair and fall into a state of shock if global temperatures were to increase by 1.5 degrees. The world won't end if it warms by more than 1.5 degrees, Skier said. Rebranding climate change as climate boiling is designed to drive fear. Senator McKim said yesterday, billions of people will die. That's what he said. No facts, just fear, because the Greens are terrified of the rapidly changing public mood. People are waking up that the public are being bullied into continued support for policies that achieve nothing except hurt human beings and harm our natural environment. And now in this debate, the Greens are
Thank
silent.
you, Senator Roberts. Your time has expired.